Hey folks, I'm Owl, this is Yarn Owl Reads, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my backlist TBR for 2020. Over here you can see the little husky. We're hoping she doesn't knock over the stool today, fingers crossed. But in comparison to the other videos I've been filming today, this one and the next one should be pretty short. These are the 10 books that I haven't read yet, sort of meant to read in 2019. Their 2019 releases were earlier. This is just my backlist TBR for 2020. The first book on this list is Call on the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the first book in the Dreamer trilogy. Lots of people know what this is and what it's about. It's a follow-up to the Raven Cycle. I'm gonna read it, I promise. I started it and it just wasn't working for me. So I put it down. I'll come back to it at some point. But at the moment I'm not super into it, so it's on this list because I'm gonna read it sometime in 2020. Sorry, we're having tripod trouble, and by tripod trouble I mean I'm having trouble with the dog and the stool I'm using as a tripod. The next book on this list is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I can't look it up because I'm using my phone to film and I didn't remember to look it up beforehand. Anyway, this is actually on my own TBR. I have the Owl Crate edition of this. A friend gave it to me and I have had a library hold on it on and off like throughout 2019. It's one of those that like I've been meaning to read it for so long that I just keep not. It's like furniture in my TBR brain room. Anyway, so I am going to get to that. I don't know anything about it. It's fantasy, so I do know something about it. That's it though, actually. It's fantasy. I think there's an assassin involved. And that's all. But I've been meaning to read it. And so like all of these are pretty much I've been meaning to read, and in the Mind Palace where my TBR lives, these have all become, they've been there so long that they've become furniture and I overlook them. So I'm going to get to them. The next book is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. Because I haven't read very much Victoria Schwab, and I've heard good things about this series. It's about a world in which I think it's bad actions create monsters, and it's about a girl, or it's about a monster who longs to be more human, and a human who longs to be more monstrous. And there's music involved. So that's what I got. I should also probably get to Darker Shade of Magic at some point. Maybe should have put that on this list, but I didn't. So, This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. Next on this list is Timekeeper by Tara Sim. This is a queer fantasy novel about, like, time. It involves time in some way. I think the main character guards the giant clock that allows time to exist. It's gay. I've heard many good things about it, and it's again been on my TBR for a long time, so I'm going to get to it this year. The next book on my list is A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. This book is very frequently recommended on the podcast Books in the Freezer, which is one of my favorite podcasts. They are sort of the reason I started to realize I like horror. Well, them and Destiny over at Howling Libraries. And so that's where I get a lot of my recommendations, and like it's where I sort of started out. And they recommend Paul Tremblay all the time. And then Kayla at Books and Lala recommends Paul Tremblay sometimes. And it is time I finally read one of his books. This is the one I know the most about, or like I'm most excited about. It's about a girl who is possessed and she needs an exorcism, but the only way her family can afford an exorcism is if they like go on a TV show and televise her getting exorcised. So it's just, I'm really excited to get into that one, and then maybe get into some of his other works. The next book on this list is also on my owned TBR, and that's Out of Salem by Hal Shreve. This is a middle grade book about, as far as I remember, it's about a kid who like lives in a funeral home, and his best friend dies, and his best friend is non-binary, and then they come back as a zombie, and then together they solve mysteries, something along those lines. I'm real excited. I love queer middle grade, so I'm just gonna go right on that. I bought this when I went to the Luminous Dead's launch party in, I think it was April of last year, and I still haven't gotten to it, so I'm excited, and I'm gonna. The next book on this list is The Trials of Morrigan Crowe by Jessica Townsend. This is the first book in the Nevermore series, also middle grade fantasy, about a girl who is supposed to die on her birthday, and that's where the story starts. And she has to undergo some trials. It's all in the title. Anyway, so I've heard lots of good things about this first book in the series. I haven't heard like anything about the rest of the series. I think only the second book is out so far. But yeah, I'm just, again, been meaning to read it for a while. Sounds like it's in my wheelhouse. Gonna get to it in 2020. The next book on this list is also on my owned TBR, and that's On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. I mean, everybody knows about The Hate U Give. Everybody loved The Hate U Give. And I loved it. It made me cry, unsurprisingly. And I'm putting off On the Come Up in the same way that I put off, like, new Rick Riordan books or new Becky Chambers books. Like what if it doesn't live up to my really high expectations? And that's dumb. Well done, Kat. Well done. Anyway, and that's dumb. I'm sure it's going to. Yeah, 2020 is the year. I'm gonna get to it. A bunch of these are 2019 releases. This isn't really a Backlist TBR. I mean, it is, but like, is it? The next book on this list is also on my owned TBR, and that's The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. And that's first book in a new fantasy series. I meant to read it last year, never really got around to it. Checked out the audiobook like 4 times and never actually listened to it. I did start this one, actually. I got like 5 or 6 or something chapters into it. Set in Europe, and it's about like these magical families and a bunch of different characters. So like one of them wants to take his place as one of the magical families, and somebody else wants something else. Lots of people want lots of things. Pretty sure there's going to be like some sort of heist or crime involved. Anyway, I got some mild, not Raven Crow, what is it called? Six of Crows. I got some mild Six of Crows vibes. And so that's exciting. I'm gonna get to it, and I'm excited. And finally, last book on this list is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This is one of the few that isn't a 2019 release. It is I think 2015, but it is a superhero book about, and like the 2 main characters, one of them is the son of a superhero. No. No, superheroes are outlawed. Is that it? Okay, there's superheroes involved somewhere. One of the characters is the son of the ruler of this oppressive government, and the other main character is trying to infiltrate and take down this oppressive government. So, it's just, I like superheroes, and this has been getting all the good reviews for years and years, and I just need to finally read it. And that is it. That is my backlist TBR for 2020. I don't know. What do you think? Are there any other backlist books you really want me to get to this year? Let me know in the comments. And all of my information and that stuff is in the description below. Other than that, I will talk to y'all soon. Have a good day. Bye.